Hey everybody, welcome to Stick in the Mud podcast, episode 17, also known as the long-awaited, much looked for, and overall, what's probably going to be a disappointing podcast. I'm your host Tark, and, new listeners, old listeners, thanks for sticking around, thanks for checking me out, and thanks for just giving me the time to have a listen. The Stick in the Mud podcast is, I'd say typically released once a week on Wednesdays, and notes for each show can be found at stickinthemudpodcast.com. However, I'm going to shoot for once a week, once more, but depending on schedule and everything else, with work as busy as it's gotten, I can't say for certain I'm always going to be able to stick to that, but I will try to update a bit more via Twitter and the website. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play Music, and on YouTube. Reviews, likes, and comments about the show are really appreciated, and when I remember, I'll try to read them at the top of the show. I know I do have a couple of comments on the website. More than likely, I'm willing to bet those are like, hey, dude, where's the episode at? So, next episode, I will actually sit down, go through them beforehand. I just wanted to get this out here today while I've got the motivation and just the gumption to sit down and do it. So, if you do want to contact me directly about the show, or anything, life in general, go ahead and shoot an email to Tark, that's Tango Alpha Romeo Kilo, at stickinthemudpodcast.com. So, with all that out of the way, let's listen to Tark ramble for a little bit. I don't really have a specific topic set up for tonight. Again, this is kind of an off-the-cuff, let's get a recording out there, let's get something up, because, man, I have neglected the podcast. So, I did discuss this a bit in the Discord and a bit on Reddit as well, but for people that don't like to use either of those, long story short, I know I've talked about it before on here, at least I think I have, and if not, hey, I'm going to talk about it on here, but I did have mental health issues, and still do to this day. Want to say it was now 2 years ago, and basically ended up in a mental hospital because I had planned and was going to execute said plan to kill myself. I'd gotten really depressed over the previous couple of years, and it all just kind of came to a head. And ended up, really wrecking finances, this, that, the other. Was spending money left on right on things that would make me happy for a little bit. And then I'd start going, why'd you spend money on that? That was the mortgage money. That was the car payment. I mean, realistically, I actually got my car repoed with one payment left. Because, being an idiot, spent that money, didn't pay it. So what was it? A $400 car payment, and the car would have been mine. Ended up costing me about $2,100 when it was all said and done, between fees, paying the tow company that had taken the car, and all that jazz. And, it sucked. So, eventually, though, got help, got put on antidepressants, had, a couple different diagnoses until we kind of got what all was going on figured out. And between the medication and everything else, we've been trying to find the right dosages and looking to have to switch medications, which kind of scared me because, we were looking at having to swap over to, the big boy stuff. And I'd like to avoid that if I can because, more, I don't want to say severe, but a lot more noticeable side effects if I had to switch medications. Fortunately, an increased dosage, the one I'm currently on, did the trick. And I gotta say, I've had 3 weeks of being a happy, upbeat, and overall just, wake up in the morning going, man, today's gonna be a good day. Is this how normal people feel? Wow, I've never felt like this. And so yeah, it's definitely been an experience. Combined with that, we got a new puppy about 3 months or so ago, which I think coincides with the last time I cast. And my youngest son, Riker, he's 4 years old, diagnosed as, very autistic. We're waiting to get therapy started for him, just waiting on the program to have an opening. And, that's been a lot to deal with, especially when adjusting medication at the same time. So, those are all my awesome, great excuses for having not gotten a podcast up there at all recently. And it's one of those things, excuses are like, buttholes. everyone's got one, they all stink. So, like I said, going from this point forward, I'm going to try and see if I can get 2 podcasts recorded a week. That way I've got one done, ready to post, and one in the tank in case for some reason, like the family camping trip last weekend, I can't get something posted up. That way, get that tossed out there and not leave everybody hanging again. So, with all that being said, as of late, if you've tuned in to YouTube or Twitch, which twitch.tv.mudpodcast, and whatever long a YouTube link it is, since I'm not popular enough to have a named channel yet, although, man, having youtube.com/mudpodcast would be amazing. So, hey, get all your friends to follow me on YouTube if you don't mind. But, yeah, so I've been doing 30 days of Mud, and today will be day 4. That starts up for me at 9 o'clock Pacific time, which is, well, you'll have to do the conversion yourself. And long and short of it, what I've been doing is spending an hour each night playing a Erdwulf, or Ardwulf, for how I'm sure it's probably properly pronounced, which is a Deku/ROM-like hack-and-slash grindy kind of game. You know, it's made to be played, and played, and played, and played. If, you know, you want to hit max levels, or, you know, get to the point where, hey, cool, I'm strong enough to go explore and do all this cool stuff. And, you know, so far I've really been digging it, just from kind of, it's got that same feel as a graphical MMO, as far as like, okay, cool, sit down, let's go to an area, let's start knocking stuff out. I haven't really found any quests in areas per se, but they do have something like auto-questers as well as campaigns, which are basically like 10 or so auto-quests just thrown together. Run out, find stuff, kill it. You know, really basic, but with the resources that they've got available, both on their website as well as commands in game, it's not, you know, even for me, not knowing the layout of the game, where to find stuff, or anything like that, I've found it pretty easy to sit down, find what I'm looking for, and, well, kill it. So, definitely kudos to them for being able to have a game like that where, you know, new to their game, definitely not a Mud newbie at this point, but being fresh to their game, I can actually find and accomplish stuff and not have to ask 50 million questions to get things done. The other really cool thing that they've had implemented that I've found, honestly, a really nice convenience is their daily blessing system, where every 24 hours you type in daily blessing and you get buffs that last, I believe, for 18 hours that will buff the amount of XP you get per kill for a certain number of kills, the number of practices or trains that you get for when you level up, usually for 1 to, I think I saw 3 levels the other day. And then, along with that too, you know, extra gold on drops, extra quest points from doing quests, just all sorts of stuff that definitely helps when you're going through that leveling process. I've seen a couple of spell ups where you get like a ton of buffs and defenses put on you by the admins, which super nice because all of a sudden it's really easy to kill stuff. So, it's really been a fun game, and I think there are definitely some things that people could lift from their game and implement in their own and really see just an improvement, I think, on newbie retention and people being able to come in and kind of hit the ground running. Now, granted, MUDs are a social genre. You know, I mean, it's a multi-user dungeon, or, you know, whatever your particular MU asterisk happens to stand for. I've been looking a lot too lately at various moves that are out there, which is an object-oriented MUD. We had talked about that previously, and you know, definitely some interesting things I think on the horizon. I know somebody wants to make a Fallout-based one. I know that Sotla or Cadaver or whatever name he's going by at this point. You know, sorry about this if I'm getting you all screwed up here. But they're working, I think they're working to relaunch Stillborn, which, again, looks to be a really promising game. You know, it definitely it makes me think of this combination of Neo Scavenger paired with like Fallout and I don't know, maybe like God of War, just something similarly brutal where, hey, you want to gouge out somebody's eye, you can gouge out their eye, and well, if they don't go to stop you, sucks to be them. So that's on the horizon, I believe, and really looks promising. Another game that is also based on Mu, and I've only played, granted, a whopping 10 minutes or so of it, but that 10 minutes or so I played, I really did like, is, oh gosh, I'm probably going to screw up the name completely. I want to say it's Star Control. It's run by Lindsay on the Mud Discord, and it's a super detailed game. I mean, I still love their character generation. It's the best character generation I've used the entire time I've been mudding. So definitely worth a look-see, and I'll have a link out to the address for their game in the show notes with this podcast. So, something that I think I'm going to do, because, wow, that's my dog in the background, and potentially my family. I do apologize, recording this during the day, everybody's up. Not my usual nighttime recording. But, something I want to do is create a survey out there, anonymous of course, and for anybody that's interested in completing it for me, I'd really appreciate it. It'll also, again, be linked on the website. And basically, it's going to be looking at mental health in the MUD community. I know, for instance, on the Iron Realms games, where you have a lot of creative individuals, and, well, my experience has been a lot of creative individuals tend to have mental health problems. You run into, well, a lot of folks that are battling depression, bipolar, take your pick as far as all that goes. So, said survey will just be like, hey, basic stuff, male, female, non-binary, whatever there. And then, age range, and, it's basic questions of, hey, do you have a mental health problem? If so, you can opt not to answer these things. But just kind of basic information, because I'm really curious to see, and I'm sure this is going to be a super small sample size because, well, how many people actually listen to the podcast or go on the MUD subreddit and will want to answer this survey? I mean, that's the other big thing. But, like I said, I think it'll be interesting to see the results, and, MUDs and mental health, with some research from a psychiatrist or almost psychiatrist friend of mine, it'll be an interesting topic, I think, for a show. So, that's kind of what I'm looking at for going forward here, topics I want to tackle. I'm also, let me find my list here. Of course, I'm pretty sure, there we go. I also want to look at skills in MUDs, because a lot of games are, going from a stock code base. Well, skills are boring. Kick is kick is kick is kick. I'd like to see something like, okay, hey, if you throw a bash out as a warrior, then there's like a 0 tick or a 1 combat round debuff where it's got a percentage chance to like eat commands from a person and make it skip whatever action is they tried to put in. I also want to take a look at, too, at, as I like to call it, visual word / mostly color vomit. Anybody who's listened to me looking at games, playing games, knows that I cannot stand obnoxious color. That's actually one thing that is slightly killing me with Ardwolf at the moment. I also want to take a look at, just the different settings that MUDs have. Possibly give a couple recommendations from games that I've tried that, or at least, scratch the itch of various genres that people are looking for. Let's see, and then probably the other two big things I want to look at are reward systems for players and how admins, ought to behave running a game, and rules that most admins would probably do well implementing and following. So, that is pretty much today, it for the podcast. I'd like to go ahead and thank Opie over at funcity.org for, well, taking care of hosting everything else. You know, and especially, too, a little bit of investment for him since I haven't done anything with the website or any of that for, well, 3 months now. And, of course, want to thank my musician friend, Sean Phillips. I'll have a link to his link out on YouTube. He actually has a CD out. I know it's available on Spotify, and I'm pretty sure the whole thing's posted on YouTube. And I'll probably go ahead and link those as well. Check it out. You know, share it if you like it. He's kind of got, you know, this really mellow, folksy, popsy sound that, I mean, a lot of people, you know, a lot of the folks that I've had listen to it so far really have enjoyed it. You know, it's a pretty chill listen. So, whether or not that's your thing, well, hey. But, yeah, like I said, that's it for me. Everybody, have a great day, and, well, keep on trucking.